So here's the simple math to bliss. 1 is heaven, 2 is hell. 1 is heaven, 2 is hell. 3, 4, 5, 6, anything after 1 is hell. Anytime we see anything outside of 1 completeness, 1 wholeness, 1 infinite being, we're in hell. As soon as we see another ego, something outside of us, we're in hell. We suffer as soon as we see a lack of money, a health problem, some sort of circumstance. Anything that we view incomplete, we're automatically in hell. We're suffering over it. The thing is this dream, this Maya, this illusion is all incomplete. Everything is going to fall apart and die at some point. And so anytime we get something new, we're automatically going to suffer because we're going to lose it. It's going to break. It's going to die. We're not going to have it forever. There's incompleteness in it. But we don't have to suffer over that. We can come back from the seat of awareness, from the God view, and see it as one. We can see it as perfect. We can see it as complete. We can see ourselves, our own body. We can see everything as this holistic entity, this one thing. And we don't have to suffer over it. All of the division in our life comes from seeing two. Dualistic, paradoxes, separateness, judgment. We feel like it's us versus other, or us versus our own body, or us against the world, or us against AI, us versus them versus them, it versus it. Everything that we're protecting from comes from a place of feeling like we're mortal, we're hurt. We need to be protected. It comes from identifying with the body, the thoughts, the ego, the identity, the thought that we must be separate from all of this, so we need to protect ourselves. We need to make sure that we have more than enough money, a big enough house, everything to replenish us and take care of us. We need to make sure no one says anything wrong to us. We need to make sure that everyone lives up to these expectations and that we build this beautiful thing for ourselves so that we can feel safe. And then we got to protect it once we get it, if we ever get it. And that all comes from a place of feeling like there's two or a zillion, but it's not coming from a place of oneness. If you want to experience bliss, nirvana, Satchitananda, heaven, you have to see one. And from a place of one, you are able to forgive, let go, understand, and just be with what is. From a place of oneness, there is no other. Money is not outside of you. The people you work with are not outside of you. The plants are not outside of you. The body is not outside of you. They're all within you. You. The great awareness, the great consciousness, the one being, the one eternal source, the allness. And so real freedom lies when you can come at life in a present moment as one, and understand that this is one great symphony, and every single note and every sound, every beat is perfection. There is no person out of place in your life. There is no thing that's happening to you that wasn't meant to be there. There is no thing that's going to happen to you that wasn't supposed to be in the script. Everything is in divine order, and you have no say. It's faded out. And the reason we know this is because it's all one thing. It's complete. If we had control and could manipulate, then that would be two. That would mean that our thoughts could control something, but our thoughts aren't even real. So how can something real dictate something that isn't real here? The only thing that's real is that seed of awareness. And so that would get to dictate how this goes, the Supreme Being. And it's complete, so it knows exactly how it's going to go. And we don't have to suffer over it. In fact, you don't even get to choose if you suffer. You're faded out, and your story's going to go exactly as planned. This video was already destined, and it was part of the script for you to remember and to hear and to take something from it or not. Whatever happens was already scripted, like a wind-up toy. The direction of that wind-up toy was already placed in there, and its little dance is already complete. Or like a movie that was already written, you're just watching it go through. It's one thing. It's whole and complete. And there's so much bliss in the acceptance of that. You literally just get to sit and be now. You'll naturally have intuition and just guidance on what to do next. Your body will naturally go get a glass of water. It'll start doing the dishes. It'll just naturally get up and start going to work, preparing for the day. It'll start living in harmony and flow as your mind comes into this one place of being, the silence, the stillness of just sitting in the eternal knowing, the eternal I am. When you sit in oneness, you're not having conflict with this dream, the conflict with others. It doesn't bother you anymore. They're just words. Even if they impact your body, you know the body is not even real. And so there's defensiveness that just starts to just dissipate. There is no more defensiveness because you understand it's just one thing. And the more you live in this one thing, you will have a lot less to defend. Eventually have nothing to defend because you realize it's all you. Any conflict is your right hand is having conflict with the left. You know that they're ultimately tied together. So if you have grievances with someone, it's like wanting to fight with your own left hand. You can just let it be. Doesn't mean you have to go be their friend or let them back in your life, but you don't have to suffer over it anymore. You don't have to think about it. Because you know it's all one. It's a reflection of the whole. There's so much bliss in understanding this. So when the rainstorm comes, figuratively and quite literally, you can accept it, know that it was by design. You can say yes to anything that life gives you I know it was designed because it's all one thing. It's just part of the fabric of the story of our life. If you've ever seen I Heart Huckabees, it's the blanket. And we're just like under a blanket, just poking with our fingers. It's all one thing. Here's me, here's you. We're all part of the blanket. I highly recommend watching that movie. First time I saw it, I hated it. I didn't understand it at all. I thought it was the weirdest movie. Got into spirituality. Years later, I watched it. I was like, this movie's genius. It's so smart. I watch it again now and I'm like, yeah, it's so divine. It's so clever. Ram Dass says, we're all God in drag. We're all God. All of us are God. We're all one. We know that at the most deepest level. If you sit quiet and you watch others, you don't even have to have a lot of rationale to understand that. You can feel it. It's felt. Just try watching people you don't know at the park or at the beach or at the mall. Watch the expressions on their face. You can feel some connection to them. Because it's you. They're part of you. They're real you. And so as you begin to understand this, it makes it easier and easier and easier to love all. It's all in divine order. It's all one. The birds that I'm looking at right now are all within us. The clouds, the buildings, the trees, the power lines. It's all one dream. It's so marvelous, so blissful to watch all of it. So if you see two, merge it together into one.